Good day everyone! Panibagong balita na naman tayo tungkol sa naging takbo ng mini trial para sa posibleng impeachment. Sa gitna ng mga diskusyon, tila nagkaroon ng tensyon nang magpahayag ng kanyang pananaw si Prof. Malo. Ayon sa mga ulat, di umano isinuplak niya ang naging proseso ng mini trial at diretsahang sinabi na masyadong bias daw ang ilang mambabatas. Ano nga ba ang naging dahilan ng kanyang pahayag? Bakit tila nawawalan na ng tiwala ang ilan sa naging proseso? At ano ang magiging epekto nito sa usapin ng impeachment? Tandaan natin na ang bawat pananaw ay may karampatang halaga at mahalagang pakinggan ang bawat panig. Kaya naman, patuloy nating hahanapin ang katotohanan at ibabahagi ito sa inyo. Huwag kalimutang mag-subscribe para lagi kayong updated sa mga ganitong balita. Salamat sa panonood!
Were already made, and if you are looking for probable cause, you are just looking for evidence. Second, they went beyond what has been alleged in the complaints, in the two complaints. If you remember yesterday, there was also a motion to consolidate those complaints into one as part of the articles of impeachment. So it was not something that you would not expect the House Committee on Justice will do. Yes, there are 53 who voted, but the total number of members in the committee is 67. If you recall the vote for form and substance, there were 54 who voted for it. So nalagasan sila ng isa. I don't know if that is good. Hindi nag-increase yung boto sa committee. I guess all of us will be waiting for the articles of impeachment, which they will be drafting and consolidating the two impeachment, and they will, I think, meet on May 4.
May 4.
So everybody's looking
Naku,
now
bukas
at
na pala
May
yan.
11 as the plenary vote.
Pero ma'am, were you surprised that the result
Abangan ho natin ang mga kaganapan sa May 4. Bukas na ho yan kung ano yung magiging balagbagan dyan sa House of Representatives. Kasi itatanong na ho nitong si Congressman Egay Irice yung kanyang mga reservation dyan sa nangyaring mini trial na yan. Dyan sa Injustice Committee nitong si Jinky Luisto. Kasi pagka hindi ka member, di ka pwedeng magtanong. Pagka naman nagsalita ka, hindi naman obligasyon ng kung sino man ang sagutin ang iyong mga manifestation. Kasi nga naman, hindi ka membro. Nakita niyo ho nangyari kay Congressman Marcoleta. Anyway, at least nasabi niya yung mga dapat niyang sabihin, narinig ng sambayan ng Pilipino kung gaano kabayas. Nakita ng ating mga kababayan kung gaano kabayas siya ang mini trial na yan dyan sa Injustice Committee.
of the voting? 53 nga po ang bumoto dito. They said yesterday it was a unanimous vote.
Well, that's propaganda. There are 67
Propaganda.
members. So how do you account for the 14? They were not present. They did not register. They did not abstain. So it's wrong to say 53 is unanimous.
Okay,
They had
pero
the majority. They had the majority, but certainly not unanimous.
okay, but did what's your take on that, ma'am, na naging majority yung kalabasan ng pagboto at least in the House Justice Committee?
I am not surprised with that. From day one, from Madriaga to the SALN to the AMLAC to yesterday, these are not surprising. It was true to form, and we just take it as it is. I just hope that the truth will come out during the trial. Certainly, when a chairman gives her opening statement with conclusions based on speculations, you already see the color of the House of Representatives. So you wouldn't expect some leeway be given to the Vice President. So from the start, from the get-go, it was really going to be like that. So as I said, they were just true to form.
But on the part of the Justice Committee, ma'am, they maintain that they are confident that they complied with all constitutional requirements. In fact, they were even more cautious this time around compared to the first impeachment proceedings last year. But for you, meron pa rin po bang mga gray areas, any legal gray areas that could be questioned in how they conducted the proceedings?
Ako muna bago si Prof. Malutikia, anong gray area? Yung pagbanggit ni Jinky Luistro na mayat maya ang ginagawa natin na to pagtalima doon sa una-unang desisyon ng Korte Suprema. Yung binigay na pamantayan pagdating sa impeachment. Hindi ho yun. Kaya binabanggit nitong si Jinky Luistro, mayat maya na yung ginagawa nila na yan, pagtalima, gayong nandun na sila sa borderline ng trial at hindi na pagsisiyasat kung mayroong probable cause ang impeachment ni BP Sara. Wala na ho sila doon. Kaya ho nila mayat maya binabanggit yun dahil alam nila medyo lumalampas na sila doon sa kung anong dapat na gawin ng komite nitong si Jinky Luistro. Yun lang naman ho yun. Alam din nila na yung ginagawa nila hindi na nakasalig sa kung ano ba ang dapat nilang gawin diyan sa Injustice Committee na yan. Mini trial na nga di ba? Talagang from mini trial, pinilit ho nilang palitan yung termino na gagamitin nila diyan sa ginawa nila na yan sa mga nakalipas na 3 hearing nila diyan sa Injustice Committee o mini trial nila, di ba? Pinilit ho nilang baguhin kasi na-question ho na naman ho sila sa Korte Suprema. At tayo naniniwala dito kung talagang sisiya sa atin ng Korte Suprema yung isinampang petisyon dyan sa ginagawa na yan ng House of Representatives sa impeachment ni BP Sara. Naniniwala ho tayo, kakastiguhin ho nila ulit at idideklarang unconstitutional yung ginawa nilang mini trial na yan. Kaya nga diba si Ridon gusto niyang ipa-withdraw yung petisyon sa Korte Suprema dahil alam nila na meron ho talagang problema doon sa ginawa nila na yun. Mali na naman ho yun. Kung pagtingin lang pala ng probable cause, bakit yung kumagsalita yung ibang mga congressman talagang guilty na si VP Sara, di ba?
Pauline, merong mga petitions before the Supreme Court, no? So certainly, question yan. May mga petitions na final sa Quezon City RTC. Karapatan nila na i-file yan, yung mga issues, no?
Correct.
Meron akong nakikitang maling-mali. Si Madriaga, yung supplemental budget niya, hindi naman yun alleged sa complaint.
Affidavit dati.
Yung supplemental budget na covered so many things that is outside.
Supplemental budget. Kasi nga naman, baka kaya nagbigay ng supplemental affidavit kasi meron siya supplemental budget. Yun pala yun. Yeah, magaling talaga tong si Prof.
And not germane to the impeachment. Yung SALN at yung AMLAC, ang mali dyan from the very start, kinover nila 20 years ng public record ni Vice President Sara Duterte. Ano ba ang ini-impeach? Ang Vice Mayor? Ang Mayor? Ang Vice President? Hindi ba 3 taon lang yon? Paano naging 20 years? So it fits a narrative they want because they want to prove there was wealth that was accumulated, illegal wealth. So kailangan mong establish from the Vice Mayor. Pero bakit mo yun isasama? Hindi naman yan kasama sa complaint. Diba? Doon sa present, natakot sila na ibuksan ng BIR kasi pumupunta na nga sa korte para ma-redress yung mga biases ng House Committee on Justice. So karapatan yun, no? Ngayon, kung sinasabi nila chilling effect, namimili lang, karapatan rin yun ng inaakusan nyo. Ang problema kasi dito sa House Committee on Justice, isa lang ang linya. Yung linya nila. At pag rene-refer mo yung rights, katulad nyon, yung supplemental budget, release a day before. Hindi pa nabibigyan si Vice President. Si SALN, si AMLAC, release a day before. Hindi pa rin nabibigyan. So makikita mo yung proseso
Grabe,
nila
no?
is
Ibang klase ho sila, yung gulatan na lang Kung dadalo man si VP Sara, wala ho siyang maisasagot doon sa mga ilinabas nila dyan sa mini trial na yan. Ang bottom line ho dito, talagang nagsusumigaw ho yung mga ebidensya. Talagang panggigipit, paninira kay VP Sara ang ginagawa nila na yan para sa 2028 presidential election.
really geared towards putting the Vice President down. It was not really in search of evidence.
Correct.
Kasi from the very start, kung nag-allege ka, dapat yung evidence kasama na sa complaint mo. Kaya natatawag silang fishing expedition. Kasi yung complaint, pag tiningnan mo, walang nakalakip na evidence. At na-unearth ito dahil dito sa probable cause na sinasabi nila. Pero tingnan mo yun, yung pinakita ninyong boto, no, ni Congressman Abante, that was a conclusion. It is not probable cause that you're looking. You're really
Ingay lang ho yan, ingay.
demolishing the Vice President. And it is using the House of Representatives. So, ang difference lamang dun sa una at sa pangalawa, sa una, nakuha ka agad yung signatures.
Correct.
Dahil may promiso, no? Dinagay sila sa isang kwarto, walang telepono, walang complaint, kinuhan signatures.
Correct.
Ngayon, meron silang quote-unquote proseso na ginagawa. Tingnan natin kung makakakuha ng 106 votes sa May 11. Kasi
Yun.
may mga considerations na binibigay para makuha yung 106. Kasi kung nandyan na yung 106, maaga pa lang, di ba sa form and substance pa lang, dinerecho na dapat sa Senado. Pero ito, kasi nakita nila na walang ebidensya, maghahanap tayo ng evidence.
Yung.
Kaya ganyan yung pagkakagawa ng House Committee on Justice.
Yung una ho talaga, idinahan sa 777, 888, sa mga 4 later release. Dito ho kasi wala na ho silang 4 later release, wala na ho silang 777, 888 na pondo, AKAP, AX, wala na ho silang ganun. Kaya kailangan, walang ebidensya, kailangan ho nilang maghanap ng ebidensya. O yung naman gumugusto dyan, hindi na siya magtatakbo. Sa tingin natin, si Martin Romualdez, imposible nang tumakbo yan. Di ba? Hindi na siya mangangarap na maging presidente kasi alam niya, wala naman ho talaga siyang laban. Kahit sinong ilaban sa kanya, hindi ho talaga mananalo si Martin Romualdez. Hindi ho siya pang presidente. O siguro, yan sa congressman, madali lang naman yan. Mamili siya ng boto sa Tacloban, panalo siya. Pero hindi ko sinasabing mamili siya. Ganun lang, mabilis lang. Ibig ko sabihin, merong distrito, hawak mo ang mayor at mga barangay chairman, yun na, tapos na, panalo ka na dyan. Diba? Sinamahan mo ng konting ayuda at konting pagpapaboka, siguro sure win ka na. Pero pagdating sa presidente, ibang usapan ho yan. Dapat ho dyan, meron kayong track record. Meron kayong exhibit A, ala Duterte ang datingan. Hindi ho pwede yung out of nowhere. At tawag dito, mistiso, pati accent, mistiso yang si Martin Romualdez, hindi naman nga sanay magtagalog, English. Di ba? Hindi ho bumibenta yan, hindi ho yan patok sa sambayan ng Pilipino. Ang gusto ng sambayan ng Pilipino, yung ala Rodrigo Duterte. Ganun ho trip nila.
Well, kasama nga po sa near-race na argument din ng defense is walang jurisdiction ang House of Representatives. Kung kayo po ang tatanungin, ma'am, ano po ba yung proper forum to address all these allegations?
May jurisdiction naman ng House of Representatives in terms of form and substance. But to decide on the evidence that is part and parcel of the complaint, that is something that, is beyond. Because trial na yun So, ang mangyayari, kung ano yan na unearth nilang evidence, yun ang isasubmit nila sa trial proper. So, pag yun sinubmit nila, ang tatanungin ngayon, basic, bakit kinasama mo ang Vice Mayor to Vice President? Bakit yung SALN at yung AMLAC katulad na rin ng nangyari na yan previously kay Chief Justice Corona, transactions ang tinitingnan nyo. Dapat ang tinitingnan, magkano pondo na nasa bangko, hindi sa transactions yung palitan, kasi yung palitan talagang natural yan sa bangko, no? Pagkatapos hindi rin minention yung mga assets kasi part and parcel ng SALN yung assets So makikita mo may pinipili, may ginugusto para mag-suit dun sa kanilang naratibo. Alam mo, nakakatawa dun, Pauline, yung sa NBI, walang corroborating yon at hindi ka nang textualize kung bakit nagalit si Vice President. Nangyari yan during the Quadcom. Nung pinipilit yung Chief of Staff niya na sumagot at kung hindi ka sasagot, ilalagay namin ka sa anong tawag dito, sa isang kwarto na diyan ka hangga't hindi ka sumasagot. So nakita
correct.
natin yung parang sisikil na ginagawa, pero nandiyan na yan. So let's have the trial, no? I think the trial will show to everyone the real evidence that we need to see.
So if this does reach the Senate, Mama, no, do you think the Vice President would have better chances there?
Oh, well, it's not better chances. It's really the trial, no? Yesterday, naglabas ang Supreme Court ng decision doon sa fourth tweet, no? Ano sinasabi, in accordance to the Senate yan, ang botohan doon 14-1, si Justice Leonen nag-oppose, pero 14 ang bumoto, na sinasabi it is within the Senate to decide kung ano ang ibig sabihin ng forthwith. So sa tingin ko yan will guide the Senate, kasi si Senate President Soto, before he was minority when Senate President Chis Escudero was there, was saying ang forthwith immediately. So it's good that the Supreme Court came up with that decision yesterday, and that will guide the Senate in preparing for the trial. Whether she will get, she will dealt with evenly is something that we will have to watch.
Pero, Ma'am, do you see the alliances also changing within the Senate during the course of this impeachment trial?
Oh, yes, Pauline, siguro tama yung tanong mo, no? Hindi lang sa Senado, pati sa House of Representatives. Kasi kaya nadadrag on ito dahil walang 106. Now, we will see kung na-wrap up na nila, nasulat na yung articles of impeachment, kung maraming papanig. Ang balita ko, maraming hindi na lang magpapakita para hindi pumoto.
Iyan, abangan mo natin.
Naman yun,
Sa tingin ho natin yan ang magiging suma pag nag-usap-usap na dyan sa plenaryo. Maraming hindi magpapakita para huwag na lamang bumoto at hindi na mapunta sa Senado yung ginagawa nilang paninira na yan dito kay VP Sara.
Call on the members of the House of Representatives, this time around, please register. Kung ano man ang boto nyo, so be it, no? Sa Senado, ang numero kasi, kailangan mo ng 16 to impeach, no?
Two-thirds.
Meron tayong 15 na majority at 9 na minority. So kung titingnan mo, kung yung majority will hold on, you just need 1 from the minority. But ang tingnan mo doon sa 15, merong 4 dyan na re-electionist, and I think so many 6 or na end of term. So doon controlling yung mga situations ng mga senador.
So yun na nga po, Ma'am, how important do you think political considerations will be in how the senator judges will be deciding on this impeachment trial? So because Vice President Duterte, it's no secret, she's still the front runner pagdating po sa 2028 presidential elections.
You are right, Paula, no? Pauline, I'm sorry. You're right. She is still lead, no? And then I think politics will be very important, especially for the 4 re-electionists. So immediately out of the 15, kung yung 4 re-electionists will think of 2028, then that will be 11 na lang. And you need 16. So and you need the Senator Bato being present. So yun yung mga nuances na kailangang i-consider. But I think I hope they will have a fair shake for the Vice President.
But what about public opinion, ma'am? How important will that also play into this whole impeachment trial? And how do you think public opinion has changed so far, if it has, since the revelations were made in the House Justice Committee's hearings?
Pauline, ang public opinion napakahalaga, lalo na sa impeachment, political process nga ito, no? Parati ang sinasabi, public opinion versus the legal arena, no? makita natin napaka-active ng taong bayan. Pag tiningnan mo ang sentiment analysis, makikita mo na karamihan sa kanila, they are proving certain witnesses as false prophets, no? Tingnan lang natin yung kay Madriaga, hinimay-himay ng pribadong tao, ordinaryong tao, yung testimony niya, yun dun sa AMLAC, maraming bank tellers, bank managers, CPAs, ang nagsasabi mali ang basehan ng pagbabasa na yan. So, I think they're very much engaged. Although masyadong divisive talaga yung impeachment, yun talaga ang ating politika. So, but I think they are on the ball and they are monitoring and saying their sentiments online.
Pero, ma'am, when it comes to the Vice President skipping all 4 clarificatory hearings of the House Committee on Justice, how is that decision affecting her strategy as well? Ano? Pati na rin the message that it sends to the public.
Well, I don't think there is a strategy in the House of Representatives. The fact that she skipped it, meaning she's her legal team and the Vice President are preparing for the trial. That is the most important part. Since I don't think she will get a fair dealing with the House of Representatives. So nakafocus siya dun sa trial. And I think that should be the way you would go considering the House of Representatives is too biased against the Vice President.
And if the evidence becomes too strong or overwhelming, ma'am, in the course of this impeachment trial, do you see the possibility of the Vice President resigning or no?
Well, I think she has already intimated that she won't resign, that she will go through the process. She is confident enough that the evidence that they will present to rebut the position taken by the House is solid. And that being said, you know, if she gets out of the impeachment not whole, probably scarred and everything, but if she's able to win the impeachment, I don't see anyone strong enough to beat her because the impeachment practically shielded her from all negative accusations against her person.
And as a final question, ma'am, how do you see this impeachment process affecting the 2028 presidential race? And for the public, what should we be closely watching out for?
Okay, for the 2028, we will see probably some candidates or those interested to hold on, not to decide early, not to make any public announcement yet, and monitor what is happening in the House, in the Senate. For the public, I think we should listen intently to the defense of the Vice President, and the public should have an open mind about her defense, and I guess respect the process. Too political, too divisive, but that is the constitutional way of seeking accountability. So let's hold on, and I hope it doesn't lead to anything. For so long as there is a fair trial, I think the Filipinos will come out the winners. Not the Vice President, not any
correct.
politician, but the Filipinos.
Palakpakan ho natin itong si Prof. Malo Tigia. Napakahusay talaga pagka itong si Prof. Malo ang sumalansan, talagang kompletos regado. So, ho tayo dito kay Mangga. Yo.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your time and for speaking to us this morning.
Report sa amin,
Nako.
hindi lang sa social
Ito na ho si
media,
Aimee.
kundi direktang daing, na ang bill shock ay lumalaganap dahil sa Meralco. At gulat na gulat ang mga tauhan kung bakit lumobo ang mga bill nila, yung iba sabi triple pa. Looking at the rates archive of Meralco, generation cost apparently increased 765 in February to 840, an increase of 75 centavos. Bakit?
Mr. Chair.
Generation na to, hindi na ito fuel and so on, or even forex. Generation cost. Ba't lumobo?
Yung sa generation cost po, affected din po yan, especially for the April generation charge. ang pinakamalaking factor was the depreciation of the peso. Yung pag-generate po ng power, kumukonsumo po yan ng fuels, and the fuels that are imported are dollar-denominated. Actually po, kahit po yung indigenous fuel natin tulad ng malampaya, dollar-denominated po din yung bayad sa kanila. So every time mag-depreciate yung peso, lumalaki po yung peso equivalent ng cost ng fuel na yun.
Grabe naman yan.
Imported din sa Malampaya, kahit sinasabing indigenous source.
Indigenous po siya, kaya lang yung presyo po niya is in dollars po.
Yung isa pang sinasabi niyo, lumaki yung transmission cost from 123 to an increase of 23 centavos. Bakit yung transmission nadagdagan din?
Ang pinakamalaki nagpapagalaw po ngayon ng transmission cost ay ang cost of ancillary charges. So
Of
ito
what?
po yung
Sorry?
Ang tawag po yan ancillary charge. Ito po yung
Ancillary
mga
charges.
Opo, ito po yung mga backup power generators that NGCP pays.
Bakit lalaki? Hindi pa naman ginagamit. Di ba naka-standby lang naman yan. Di pa ginagamit. Bakit kinokobra na sa consumer?
So unfortunately, ma'am, I'm not in a position to describe exactly what happened no sa ancillary cost. We just received the bills from NGCP and maybe
Kaya hinihingi ko nga na i-breakdown to kasi nakakapagtaka eh. Tapos may system loss charges. Bakit dumami ba yung systems loss?
yung system
Bakit
loss,
naman magiging less efficient? Suddenly, sa loob ng isang buwan, 10% increase. May pilferage ba kayo? Lumaganap ba yung pilferage nung uminit ang panahon? Di ko magets eh.
yung system loss po, dalawa pa yung component niyan, yung kilowatt hours na nawala, pati yung presyo po ng kilowatt hours na yon. Yung nawala na kilowatt hours, hindi ho lumaki yun. Ang lumaki po yung presyo ng kilowatt hours. Yung presyo ng kilowatt hours, nakabase po yun sa generation at transmission cost. So every time tumaas o bumaba yung generation at transmission charge,
Oy, grabe naman. Patong-patong na to. Yung generation charge, may charge na. Tapos say, double up pa sa system loss. Tapos yung ancillary charges na hindi naman ginamit, nakatambay lang, dinagdagan din. Parang nawiwili kayo sa kadadagdag. At when VAT is calculated, kasama rin system loss at yung iba't iba pang sinasabi ninyo, yung transmission, ancillary, etc.
yes po, Madam Chair,
Computed lahat yan sa VAT.
meron pong VAT component, per bill component, except for a few na sabi ng BIR, hindi kasama sa VAT base.
So, anong masasabi natin sa mga nagrereklamo? Baka naman pwedeng sumagot din ang ERC o kung sino man dyan sa sa DOE. Ano masasabi natin sa mga dumadaing, yung mga households that are recording triple their electric consumption and their bills at a time when electricity sales actually declined? Ang realidad, ang sinasabi lagi ng Meralco ay lumolobo ang konsumo kapag tag-init. Pero pag tinignan ko to, from February to April, lumiit nga yung konsumo eh. From 2.711 billion kilowatts, naging 2.644 billion kilowatts. It hardly supports the idea that higher consumption occurred in the summer. So, what's going on? Can we have ERC perhaps explain? Because it's not just Meralco under the gun here. Yung NEEC sa Nueva Ecija, yung iba't iba pang mga co-op, pare-pareho rin na nagsilobo ang kanilang billing.
Yes, Mr. Chair, and we state for a fact that yung mga singil generally nagsipagtaasan brought about by the increase doon sa pinakamalaking component, which is the generation charge. And as mentioned, because yung transmission charge natin, nakabundle pa dyan yung cost ng ancillary service. So pagka mayroong increase sa generation cost or sa ancillary service, nagkakaroon din ng increase sa transmission. Insofar as the regulated rates, yung distribution wheeling mismo at saka yung transmission wheeling mismo, hindi po masyadong gumagalaw yan kasi yan ay depende doon sa rate approval na ibinigay ng ERC after a
Sabi
rate
mo, hindi
proceeding.
gumagalaw pero lumulobo nga eh.
Kaya
Nako.
po, yung mga component po na gumagalaw buwan-buwan.
May nagsisinungaling
tulad ng
siya na
generation,
O yung generation,
Oo.
o yung sinabi na ninyo, pati sinabi ninyo, yung transmission, okay.
Opo, tapos po, dahil nakabase yung VAT doon sa total na generation cost, doon po na-apply yung VAT. Kaya kung tataas yung generation cost, tataas din yung VAT on generation.
Pero bakit aabot naman sa triple to? Sobra-sobra naman. At saka ano ba ang magagawa ng ERC para mabawasan naman to? Pwede ba tanggalin na muna yung mga systems loss? Hindi naman nadagdagan yan. Pati yung transmission cost, hindi naman totoong nadagdagan yan. Can we just keep it down?
Yes po, over the years, naibaba na po natin nga yung cap, which is the allowable system
No, I'm
loss
talking
cost.
about the present crisis that we are confronting. Para makatulong lang naman.
Doon po sa mga pag-mitigate, nagkaroon na nga din po tayo ng mga rate actions tulad nung sa Meralco to accelerate yung implementation ng kanilang refund to at least realize an additional rate reduction that can offset yung pagtaas po ng kanilang generation charge.
Meron na bang na rate reduction na Meralco or other co-op?
Yes po, pagdating doon sa accelerated na
Kailan?
rate
Kailan?
refund,
Saan?
that will take effect
Magkano?
po starting this next billing. Inihabol po talaga namin yung decision dyan ng
How much
commission.
can we look forward to?
Pagdating po sa mga residential customers, may mga karagdagang around 20 centavos, 22 centavos para po lalo pa yung mga residential.
Anong tawag dyan? Yan deduction na yan?
Opo, that is a separate line item na rate reduction because of the refund awat based on
Pero
the
refund yan, di ba?
Opo, rate refund siya brought about by the confirmation by the ERC of the implemented rates of Meralco for July 2022 to 2024 and comparing it with the computed average, actual average, weighted average tariff of Meralco. So yun po yung naging basis kaya siya pinagsoli. Right now may natitira na 14 billion.
May isang nagsulat at nagrereklamo na yung total, yung subsidies ang sinagot sa kanya. Lumaki daw yung bill niya pagkat daw yung dinagdag yung mga total subsidy. Wala namang maisip na bagong subsidy pagkat total subsidies really only account for 1 centavo per kilowatt. Is it too much for power distribution utilities to pay for this? Rather than passing it on to consumers. I know that ERC approved, perhaps, did you approve their pass on for both subsidies? First, the Lifeline.
Opo, nakabase po din yan kasi doon sa expanded Lifeline program na ipinatutupad natin based on
Tapos
the
ang
law. Opo.
based on the EPIRA na
EPIRA,
allows subsidies to be charged.
Opo, as amended and as extended by subsequent legislation.
Pero hindi ba kaya? Maliit lang naman to. Ang liit-liit naman ng Lifeline na yan. At nasabi nga, 135,000 lang naman, 8 million lang naman yan every month. Hindi ba pwedeng i-absorb na ng Meralco yan?
Iba-iba din po kasi ang ating mga distribution utilities. Meron din tayong mga electric cooperatives na kung saan ang
Hindi,
kanilang
sana manguna na yung Meralco. Siyang pinakamalaki.
Of course, kung sila po voluntaryo kasi yung mga ina-approve
Tinatanong ko
naman
lang.
nating singil
Napakahirap na ng buhay eh.
para sa distribution charge, ito naman ay po pwede na ating ikonsidera na maximum that they can
Alam
implement.
ko,
But there is-
Attorney Juan, kasi pinirmahan mo, inapprove ninyo eh. Pinayagan ninyo. Tapos yung senior citizens, the same mechanism. All subsidies.